Are we okay? Okay.
Bum 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 bum, what do you wanna do? Sing a song you can sing along to. Let me tell you about tardigrades, they're very neat. Can they be? No!
Tardigrades,
What are you doing? Tardigrades, what are you doing? Why are you this tough? Can moss really be that rough?
Here's a picture of one. Doesn't he look like fun?
No.
But here is a video of our little guy. Look at his tiny legs go. I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a minute. That's adorable.
The rhymes are getting horrible.
I see it has 8 legs. Is it a bug? Or some kind of legged slug? No, they're not. They're a tiny little animal that looks a lot like an ugly mole. In fact, scientists didn't know how to file him, so they put him in his own little file.
Tardigrades!
What are you doing?
Tardigrades, what are you doing? Why are you this tough? Can moss really be that rough?
What's really cool about these little guys is that they
can survive
almost anything. No, really, almost anything.
They'll survive the apocalypse unlike you and me, cause they know just what to do. Tardigrades, what are you doing? Tardigrades, what are you doing? Why are you this tough? Can moss really be that rough?
When faced with something they can't handle, like being strapped to a Roman candle headed for space, that unforgiving place. Exposure to space would have some serious complications for any living creature. But tardigrades have a very special feature. They need a certain amount of water just to stay alive. But when they need to survive, they lay down the
This super complicated jive.
They can desiccate as they acclimate to the inhospitable climate they find themselves in. And how? Allow me to tell you now, they push all the water out of themselves, out of
their individual cells.
But that doesn't bother them even one bit. And here's the weird thing:
They can survive it.
We shot some into the vacuum of space, and then when they came back, they
Started walking around the place.
It was the craziest thing to see this animal spring back from the dead without a mark on his tiny head.
Tardigrades,
What are you doing? Tardigrades, what are you doing? Why are you this tough? Can moss really be that rough? You wouldn't think, would you, that an animal that lives
mostly have to
would be able to survive in space? It's literally the most unforgiving place. Tardigrades, what are you doing? Tardigrades, what are you doing? Why are you this tough? Can moss really be that rough? Why are you this tough? Can moss really be that rough? Why are you this rough? Can living off moss really be that tough? I guess it can. And man, if you ever got huge and decided to take over the world, I'd be right there as you presided over it all. Tardigrades are the best. Better for sure than all of the rest. I'm sorry you had to listen to this song. You couldn't sing along. The song barely rhymed, but at least I kept time. I hope you enjoyed it. See ya. Goodbye.
Bum bum.
Hi. Okay, so my biology project, I decided, was on tardigrades, which are cool. But the thing is, there aren't any free videos of them on the internet. So I figured out how to take videos through a microscope we have, and I'm gonna go try and find some. Wish me luck. So the internet says I'm looking for lichen. Alright, I'm hoping I can find some without having to go too far into the forest. Been a lot of moose around here lately. Also the forest, if you can't tell, very hard to see through. Yeah, I'm gonna go someplace that's a little bit more open. Alright, sample 1. Okay, so what you're gonna wanna do is get yourself a science knife, okay? And also some science envelopes labeled. And you're going to take your science knife at a 90-degree angle to your sample and gently sweep it in. You're not going to cut, okay? Gently sweep. Gently, gently, gently. A tiny little amount of sample. We don't need a lot. Sample 2. This is very yellow. Tardigrades like wet or damp environments, and I can really tell this one's wet or damp. And you know why? Because of all the mosquitoes. Hey, anyone who's doing this for themselves, this, not the moss you're looking for. This might be. Not sure it's really green enough. But it's pretty wet. I mean, there's a ton of mosquitoes right here. And the third sample is going to be moss. So, yeah, let's go with some of this. Sample 3. Okay. So I've collected 3 samples of, unknown plant type, but it was 2 lichens and a moss. I'm pretty sure they were all from locations that were wet enough, because if it was wet enough to spawn that many mosquitoes, I think tardigrades are going to be okay. We have a full complement of scientific kit here. I'm kidding, we don't. We got petri dishes and stuff, though. So that's good. Here we have our petri dish. And here we have our sample number 1. I'm gonna pour that in there. This is bottled water. It's not chemicaled. Alright. That's probably a little much on the water, but we do want it to be floating. Like that. Then we're going to cover it and label it. Well, we will label it, just off screen. And we're going to do that with the other 2 samples as well. Movie magic. Okay, so now we're just going to let those sit overnight and we'll come back in the morning. Day 2, as you can tell by my different shirt and my different tie and how it's a different day. I looked at all the samples, not as closely as I could have, but the only sample that had any tardigrades in it was sample 1. So I found one of them that was orange and a lot larger than the rest of them. I also found some little, they looked like slugs, but I bet they were nematodes. I read in all the things that M. tardigradum is one of the only carnivorous ones, and it eats nematodes, and it's also orange. So I think I found one of those. But I also found a much smaller, clear one. But it's pretty exciting. I'm excited. Okay, so I thought I'd show off my kit here just to tell you what I was using. I was using a Brock monocular microscope with 10 times eyepiece and a 4 times objective lens for scanning and the shots where the tardigrade was really small. But for when the tardigrade was much larger, I had a 10 times eyepiece and a 10 times objective for a total of 100. Now, to shoot through the lens, I used a 50mm lens on a Canon T3i with this black paper around it as sort of an adapter, because the hole in my eyepiece is a lot smaller than the hole in my actual lens, so it fits right on there like that. I just sort of, positioned it on top there, and that worked really well, actually. Did zoom in a little on the camera to make him, those shots when the tardigrade's super huge, right? That's when I used the digital zoom on the camera to make him a little bigger. See, this is 3 times digital zoom. Now, if you actually want to see your tardigrades, what you're going to want to do is actually light it from the side. Light your petri dish from the side. If you light it from the bottom, it blows them out because they're translucent. I just covered up the light tube on my microscope with this little cloth so it didn't come up through the bottom, and I lit it with this Maglite giant flashlight and the little LED light that's on my phone just to give it a proper side light and also a light from the top. They'll actually show up as white against sort of a mid-gray background. And you just super carefully look around. You'll be able to see them if you're at 40 times magnification like I am right now. Can't believe I actually found some tardigrades. That was hard. But not as hard as finding like a tiger or something.